This is the Retirement Key Podcast with Joshua Barbin, certified financial planner of Abish Financial Services.
Welcome back to the Retirement Key, where we help you unlock the answers to your biggest retirement questions. My name's Casey, and today I'm joined by my buddy, Joshua Barbin, certified financial planner with Abish Financial Services. JB, always great to see you.
You too, Casey. Nice to see you as well.
Excited to chat with you today. Quick reminder as you're listening, if you would like to learn more or schedule a complimentary consultation with JB, you can visit us at theretirementkey.com, and it's got all the resources that you need to get connected with us. Now, I'm excited to dive in with you today, JB, because today's topic is one that affects every single retiree, and that's healthcare in their retirement. It's often one of the biggest expenses that people face, and we know that planning ahead can really make all the difference in this department. So let's start at the top. Why is healthcare such a critical part of retirement planning?
Well, Casey, because 70% of retirees are likely to have a long-term care event. Everybody's going to need healthcare no matter what, even if it's not long-term. It's just a requirement, especially as you get older. You need healthcare. You know, even today, you know, if you're not retired or still younger, you still need it, but it becomes even more important as you get older, and that's just part of life.
Right. And the numbers for healthcare in retirement can really be astonishing. They can really add up and catch people off guard, so it's best to be prepared. So what do you think are some of the biggest expenses? I know you mentioned long-term care, but what do you think are the biggest expenses that retirees should anticipate in this space going into their retirement?
Yeah, there's a couple things. The Medicare premiums can be expensive. Now, that's not on Part A, but there is something called Part B, and this is known as IRMA. Now, it's not a Western singer named Irma. It's got some income-related monthly adjustment. It's a really government-type name, but basically what this means is the way they calculate how much you have to pay for your Part B premium. So there's Part A, there's Part B, and there's Part D. These are the pieces of Medicare that everybody has to use. There are some exceptions to that, but pretty much everybody uses A, B, and D. And B can be very expensive, especially and that actually relates into your overall retirement plan. It can make your B even more expensive depending on how much money you have coming in. So B is a big one. Long-term care is another big one. Pharmaceuticals can be expensive as well. And then you have some costs that are not totally covered under the Medicare program that can become expensive as well. That's where you get into your supplementals.
Okay, let's talk a little bit more in depth about Medicare. How does Medicare work exactly, and what do retirees need to know about enrollment? I think this is where a lot of retirees get confused and they get tripped up, and that can really be detrimental to them. So talk to us quickly about that process. Yeah,
it can be a little scary because as you are hitting 65 and you still may be working, you still may not be working, and they're not. You have to apply for it, and they put these kind of deadlines on it. And if you miss them, you can be penalized for it. But at the same time, they're not very proactive about telling you what you need to do. I've seen before, like, send you a big old book in the mail, and you know it's not easy to understand any of this stuff, let alone the very basic, which is you need to apply, and the window of time that you can apply by is 3 months prior to turning 65, 3 months after 65, and there's 1 month while you're the month that you're turning 65. So there's a 7-month window for many people. Now, if you're still working, there's a little bit separate criteria, but that varies by state. So that doesn't make it much easier either. And that's a lot of the anxiety around it, is just simply filing for Medicare. And so being mindful and understanding that time frame that you have to file is very important.
It can all be really overwhelming. Now, I want to talk a little bit more in depth about long-term care, which you mentioned earlier. I know that's a big concern for many retirees. So how should retirees plan for long-term care costs?
Yeah, that's a great point, because it's not covered outright in Medicare. There is a short, you get a certain portion for it in your Part A, but it's maybe like 180 days. So some people have long-term care events that go well beyond what's covered in Part A, and there's not a cap on how much you could pay for long-term care either. So you really need to be mindful about the fact that most retirees will, like the majority of retirees, will need long-term care. It's just probably about 70% will need long-term care at some point during their aging, right? And long-term care can can be expensive. We're talking even the more basic kind, Casey, like the in-home services, can be $60,000 to $70,000 a year to have kind of in-home help. If you're using a facility, we could be talking somewhere between $100,000 to $150,000 a year, and not everybody has that budgeted into their plan,
right?
Though you can.
And it's something that you want to be on top of, though, before you need it, right? Because it's not really something that you can go pick up when the time comes when you're having an event where you actually need it. You need to take care of it before something happens, right?
That's right. It's a bit of a catch-22. You have some long-term care vehicles that you could use where it's a use it or lose it type situation. So you buy it and then you didn't have the long-term care event. That can be kind of unfortunate, right?
Yeah.
And you actually paid all this money into it and didn't actually use it. And the other one is that you didn't have it and you need it, and you're now in a situation, like you said, Casey, where you can't get it. It's just no insurance company would ever insure that situation. So you do need to be proactive about long-term care planning for, and here we need to use foresight of maybe 15 or 20 years of foresight, because we might be buying it when we're 60 and needing it when we're 90 or 80, and so it's not always easy to prioritize it because it's so far away.
Right.
But that is an important piece here.
You want to weigh your options, and you want to weigh them as early as possible. I think that's the lesson here. Now, JB, I know HSAs can play a role too, so can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, HSAs are amazing. If you have the option to use that, a lot of employers today, you have to have basically a high deductible plan. And high deductible means that the amount of money that comes out of your pocket is higher, and there's a certain level for it. It's a certain amount of money. And if you have that type of plan, it allows you to contribute into a health savings account. The health savings account is the only account in America that is triple tax-free. The money that goes in, you don't pay tax on. It grows without taxes, and you can take it out if you use it for qualified medical expenses or after you hit a certain age, tax-free. So this truly is the most tax-preferred account in America. And it's really can be nice too, because you get sometimes some good investment options under the hood. So that can be an advantage as well. Now, you might be somebody who doesn't like a high deductible plan, because that can mean more out-of-pocket costs if you actually have some health situations while you're using it. But if you're proactive about this, you can build up yourself a nest egg of tax-free money that can be used for medical expenses or long-term care, even can be used for LTC coverage in some cases as well.
Got it. All right. Well, before we wrap up, we like to be proactive here at the Retirement Key. So what steps should retirees be taking now to manage future healthcare costs down the road? What can people be doing to avoid issues?
Yeah, I mean, being proactive about your health, I know it sounds a little silly, like this is a retirement conversation, but, actively being proactive about your health is important. But the other things, using an HSA account, thinking through, does it make sense for me to have some type of long-term care plan built into my financial plan and my income plan? Is that factored in? Many people, Casey, that's a no. And it can be a yes. It just requires a little more foresight, a little bit more, it is so far away. A lot of people anticipate they're not ever going to be unhealthy. They're not ever going to be. But the reality is that we all will be at some point. And there's a high likelihood you're going to need this. So it just involves some planning, talking to people who deal with this thing and know this and can help you to get the coverage that you need or the plan that you need to deal with it.
Got it. JB, thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us today. I know people may have questions, so how can listeners get in touch with you should they want to set up some time to chat?
Yes, the retirementkey.com, right?
That's right. That's the retirementkey.com. You can learn more. You can schedule a complimentary consultation with JB. You can get connected with the amazing team at Abish Financial Services, the retirementkey.com. Thanks so much for joining us for our episode today. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as wherever you get your favorite podcasts so that you never miss an episode with us. And we will see you next time. Thanks, JB.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for listening to the Retirement Key Podcast. To learn more about Abish Financial Services, visit theretirementkey.com. Abish Financial Wealth Management is a registered investment advisor with the SEC. Registration as an investment advisor does not imply a certain level of skill or training, and the content of this communication has not been approved or verified by the United States Securities and Exchange Commission or by any state securities authority. The information contained in this material is intended to provide general information about Abish Financial Wealth Management and its services. It is not intended to offer investment advice. Investment advice will only be given after a client engages our services by executing the appropriate investment services agreement. Information regarding investment products and services are provided solely to read about our investment philosophy and our strategies.